Welcome aboard, all you ground troops spinning around smartly on the planet we call home. You know, Artemis 2 has landed, and we're going to be talking to Cosmos Connection people. And we're like a different braid, but we're going to talk to you today from Hawaii, Texas, and
Wales.
UK. I think that's
Wales.
Wales, right?
Yeah,
So that's
Wales.
David Hunt. So, two women and a man doing what we can to talk about the cosmos. So Janette Lessin is media, Aquarian
Aquarian media.
Media, and
Yeah.
she's going to be our monitor hosting. I'm co-host today, and we trade off. So, welcome to ET Talk TV and Aquarian Media, and David Hunt and Wells. And David Hunt, he basically has a YouTube. So, Janet, you want David to tell us?
Well, Dave, I want you to tell us a little bit more about your journey here, your spiritual journey and your extraterrestrial journey. I didn't have time to go through a lot of your, and I love your little podcasts, whatever you call them, your chats that you have, your talks. You call it David Hunt
Observation.
Talks.
That's right.
She's been observing you.
And I've
Not the
been
only
watching
one.
you walk and talk, and I like how you do it. You walk and talk, or it's just it's nice and relaxed. And
He walks his talk, huh? Or
he
does he
walks
talk
his
his
talk.
walk?
Yeah. So tell us now. You had this. We covered the event a little bit last time, and what happened after or before that? Because you're a lifelong experiencer. Like Teresa and I are both lifelong experiencers. We've
Yeah.
had episodes since the crib, since we were toddlers.
Hybrid.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
go ahead, Dave.
Well, me too. Yeah. Like I say, my all my childhood was
Hmm.
spent with the life of a typical abductee. To be honest with you, that's how it was. I was taken at night time from my bedrooms. I was taken mainly by beings that appeared to be like greys, and sometimes they would come in my bedroom with guys with military uniforms on. I have very little recollection of what happened. I just always remember the actual them entering the bedroom and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? And taking us, and periods of missing time. And like I say, once I was abducted with my parents in a car, which my dad remembered.
So that was were you one of your you have siblings, right?
A brother and two sisters. Yeah.
Were any in the car with you, or did they?
No. So the funny thing was my dad's passed now, but my mum's very old, and all my brothers and sisters are a lot older than me. I was sort of like an accident.
Yeah, I'm the accident. I'm the third on the accident.
So yeah, I don't think I was expected, but I was born a long time after them. So even by the time that I came home to live with my mum and dad, because I was brought up by my nan and granddad. So I came home with them when I was about 9 or 10, and by then all my brothers and sisters, apart from my youngest sister, who was like 10 years older than me, they'd gone. I didn't have much to do with them, to be honest with you. But yeah, I had a sister that we lived together in the same house, but only for about 2 years, and then she was married and she's home as well. So yeah, so just to clarify, most of the stories, it's almost like I was an only child, to be honest.
Right, I had the same experience. So
Right,
they were all gone by the time I was. Yeah, so that's great. You get the house all to yourself.
Yeah, I was pretty much left to my own devices, which wasn't always a good thing, but it helped me grow up quickly.
So
Yeah.
you were with your nan and that means grandmother and grandfather, right? Your nan and papa.
That's right, yeah.
Right. And until you were 9, is that what you were saying?
Yeah, about 9 and 10. Yeah, it was.
9
It,
and
it
10.
was. It
Did
happened
they
over
have
a period.
Did they have any experiences? You having experiences?
Yeah, so they did, and they used to keep me in between them in bed. We lived in a block of flats, and they knew that something was going on with me at night time, and they did their best to try and protect me by keeping me like in bed with them. But it obviously it didn't work, But but it used to make, what it's like. It did used to make me feel more secure
Right.
to be with them. But and they were really great people, to be fair. They were.
Did they kind of freeze your grandparents while you were taken, or?
Yeah. So there's one incident that stands out in my mind where, as I was being, like, they levitated me off the bed and were moving me towards the window, like, not, I was just levitating without their help, but they were just in the room while this was happening. And I saw my granddad laying in the bed with his eyes open, with a sort of look of terror on his face. And so I know that he knew some of the things that were happening, and he was a very thoughtful guy. He was a very intelligent bloke and like a deep thinker and stuff. And he always knew that there was like something going on with me, and I think it was something that was probably going on in the family as well. So I think that he had previous knowledge,
right?
Because he used to say that our family was cursed.
Everybody be blessed.
Well, it depends which way you look at it, doesn't it? But yeah, the verdict's out still for me, to be honest.
Right.
Yeah.
Teresa, have you ever been levitated? I have, but have you been levitated?
In my mind, in my sleeping, I travel all over the place. I fly all over the place. But as far as being lifted subconsciously or consciously, I have that feeling of being levitated every time I go out of my body, because when I died with Gigi, I came up out of my body. So to me, having died, and it's like an out-of-body or near-death experience these days. And you see all kind of shows now on TV about out-of-body, near-death experiences. Oh, as a matter of fact, there was a woman that has an out-of-body. If you got David and Janet want to be on that, I noticed it. I think it comes from Spain. I think she's in Spain, but she spoke proper English like Dave does. So just to know that we're not alone on the planet, there's other people out there experimenting with consciousness. And I guess, folks, Dave and Janet and I have 3D understanding that we're here in 3D, but that's not all there is. And that's where science and quantum science is taking us, and quantum theorists. So Dave, how do you separate the various parts of you?
So effectively, I see a human being as a false construct, that it's been created in order to get awareness, pure awareness, to identify with an illusion. So I do kind of, like, through my own experiences of sort of at the moment where I plant my flag is that I believe that the world is a false construct, like a form of like a matrix. And that it's been designed in order to ensnare consciousness, and it does that through identification.
Can you hold it right there? Because you said a couple of important things. Right here, people are wanting to know your experience of, have you seen The Matrix, the movie Matrix?
Yes, I have seen the movie, yeah.
And the follow-ups, how do you feel about that? Did you relate to that?
So, yeah, I mean, when The Matrix actually came out, I suppose it was almost like a little chink in the wall for me at first, because it was a long time ago. I'd had the experience that I'd had where I'd left the construct, and I'd seen it from the outside, if you like. And so there was something about that movie that really resonated with me, and I think it did with a lot of people as well. Not so sure about all the follow-ups. It just turned into like a sort of like shoot 'em ups, didn't they? But but the original one had like a lot of little kind of symbolic truths in it, I think. And I do believe they were probably trying to say something to us, and it was also a reflection of the times that we're living in, where there is, like, for want of a better term, like a truth vibration that's entering the world and is raising people's awareness. And part of that raising of that awareness is to realize where we actually are.
Yeah, I've actually seen that. I went out all the way out into the cosmos, and then I came back. and I saw like a bunch of it was almost like screens all around the planet.
Okay.
And then I came back in, and I was coming in under I Love Lucy. It was playing I Love Lucy. And I went, wow, because that's when I was born. My mother would sit me down with I Love Lucy. And then I had trouble getting back into my body at the time. And I kept slipping out and back in again. And I'd circle around. It was like I was, being diverted from the airport. It's like, nope, you're coming in the wrong way. You got to go back out and back in. And I eventually got back into my body. And I said, wow, that was really bizarre. But then I think it was way after that I discovered David Icke's book, where he had the cover with the screen on it. And I go, oh, so it's not my unique experience. So somebody else is getting that information. And then I was I had all the astro stuff all through my childhood, and finding it was when I met Teresa in 1993. I moved to Oahu, and I was living on the 14th floor by Ala Moana Center, one block up from Ala Moana Center in downtown Honolulu. And they took me, they levitated me straight up on my bed, took me straight out the window, and I was like freaking out because I'm going to go through this window. What's that going to feel like? And I could see they had a craft. It was parked in between the high rises. And I wondered, is anybody seeing this down below? I never got any answers. And I was witness. I love when you have a witness. So my boyfriend was sleeping here. My boyfriend was asleep with me, and when we woke up like our heads were together. Head high, third eye chakra. Nobody sleeps like that. We never slept like that. And we opened our eyes at the same time, and we went, "What?" Kind of backed off, like, "What is going on?" And so I realized that the ETs were jokesters. That was a joke. Let's put them back in a funny position so they'll know that something happened. So, wow.
Well, another question, Dave, is why did you give the name The Construct? Is that something out of a philosophical school or a metaphysical mystery invisible college, or did you just come up with that construct how would you say that to your grandparents?
Well, a lot of the time,
our inquiring minds to know construct.
So a lot of the time, to be fair, I tend to refer to it as a control system. I believe that we live in a control system, basically.
Is this a prison planet, like they say that souls are trapped and they go through the moon and all that? Is that true?
So that's how it was shown to me. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But it described it.
Janette, she said.
But it did describe it a little bit more poetically than that. Sorry, it wasn't all doom and gloom. Do you know what I mean? Like it kind of. When I went through that event, it said that we lived in a dream within a dream.
Right.
And there was a prime dream that had more of a conscious connection to the source. So people behaved accordingly because they had like a conscious awareness of their oneness, if you like. Mm-hmm. But what happened was that a proportion of the consciousness that makes up the prime dream had decided to separate itself from the original dream, mm-hmm. and it had created its own dream, and that was the false construct. Mm-hmm. So, but the false construct. Yeah. So basically, it had created a reality that was based on separation, because that is what it is doing. That's its prime focus. It was separating from the main dream. And
so with numbers like that, David, if we start with 0 and we work -1 and +1, is that a visualization you can see, or a 0 1 0 1, something like that in the numbers? I know you get the harmonics, but I'm trying to give people
well, it was shown to me like more symbolically, so it was like
construct that you're talking.
She's frozen.
Oh, okay, right, gotcha.
Yeah, sorry.
But
For
so it
those
was
that
like
don't
saying,
get,
sorry, you.
There's something. She's really gotten
Oh, okay,
slowed down. Like it's
right.
like an acid trip. But no, I don't know what's going on with your connection there. But
Right.
okay. The
yeah,
way
we have magnetic issues.
okay, so
Yes, possibly, yeah.
when I read
Human
a thing called
resonance.
about the Ogu, the one God universe, and it said that a part of creation decided to create like a virtual reality game. Like we have games here, and kids play games and they wrap into it. So it was like a game that was created to go play, and people said, "Wow, that's really fun. I'll go play that." Right, and they kind of got trapped in this game within a game. But
Yeah.
there's ways to become conscious, and that's what the whole consciousness movement is about. Become conscious of how you are connected and what you do, think, say, affects each other. And so,
But yeah, the narrator that was talking to me during that experience was saying that basically that's how consciousness had got ensnared within this dream, because it was very alluring to the idea that we could go into an even deeper slumber than we already were. So obviously the infinite is infinite awareness, and the game that it's playing here is pretending that it's not that.
So what was the purpose of the self and not self? So I've been looking at that, like, why do we have self and not self, the apparent other? And from what my understanding, it was for diversification, because it was too much. We weren't able to experience the whole range of love, hate, pain, fear. So in order to create a greater polarization and greater diversification, we need to have this. Kept us pushing out the continuum further and further, right? And then that's when this said, "Oh, okay, well, you think that's fun? Let's do this game." And now we can experience killing each other and being killed, because we weren't reaching that because our skin encapsulated self sense wasn't thick enough to allow us to cut off our own arm or leg, right? So then when they made us a thicker density, now we're thick and we can't really feel each other. Now we can kill each other, and we don't really get what it's like to kill or be killed until we reunited in the interim, like the Bardo or in between lives.
That's right. Yeah. From the grandest perspective, it was saying that there was nothing evil going on. It was just if you like, an exercise of separation. It was just the idea of like, how asleep can we become? And of course, like, the side effects of being that asleep is that obviously we had to create like an ecosystem in order to do that. And you could argue that like the false god or whatever you want created this construct, this false construct. It's just basically like a super ego. And the way I saw it was that it had to do that in order to, there's a certain amount of ego that's created. So you have let's try and keep it straightforward, but it's like you have the infinite, okay? And then in order for it to create a dream, there has to be a certain amount of separation from the infinite, obviously, because the dream is limited by nature. Even though it seems unlimited, it's not. It's obviously limited because it is form, whereas only the formless is unlimited, because the formless is infinite potential. But once something's been created, it's no longer infinite potential. So there's a certain level of separation that occurs when a dream is created. Yeah. And all it was just within that dream. But to me, when it showed me that the prime dream, it was like a white light. It was like a white round ball of light, and inside the ball was like just electromagnetic wave patterns going backwards and forwards. And it just said that consciousness basically lends itself into the dream in order to experience it. It was like a fairground ride,
Which ride do you want to get on?
Oh, the roller coaster, always.
I do believe that, like, Bill Hicks was like,
do we have to pay tickets?
Life is just a ride, sort of thing. But yeah, so basically, it didn't perceive anything as being like evil or wrong. It just said, it said like, this is all happening, but it's all one thing. So it's all one thing experiencing itself. So there is actually ultimately no evil, but it said that to get into relative terms, that the part of the reality that we were stuck in, what this dream, like, that was within the dream, that was cut off from the prime dream, was based on a much higher level of separation. And But what it did say was the reason why it showed me is because it was saying that basically it was over, and that it was a done deal, that love, if you like, infinite love or whatever, had, not through judgment, but had just decided that this level of density was over. So therefore what was happening was an influx of consciousness was coming into the matrix, if you like, or into the construct. And it's been brought in to break up the density and break up the separation through coming in, waking up within the dream, and then starting to like vibrate at that kind of unity consciousness as opposed to separation consciousness. So, and it was causing all kinds of chaos and havoc and stuff as the system tries to fight for its survival, because the whole point of this false construct is basically to feed the superego. That's why it's like looshing us, if you like Robert Monroe would say, you know. It needs our energy to do it, you see, because it doesn't, because the act of cutting itself off from the source so deeply meant that it could no longer receive energy from. So basically it had to bring consciousness into the game to animate the game, but then also to feed off that consciousness that is trapped.
So you just gave another pattern to those on the planet. You named Robert Monroe, is that it?
Right. Yeah. And looshing.
So you've been in looshing.
Yeah.
You've studied other people's words and symbols in books. Like, well, we know
all
about
have.
this, but go ahead and tell people how you got into that Robert Monroe thread on the planet.
Of course, as you can relate to, if you'd had the sort of experiences that I've had, you're deeply motivated, aren't you, to research and find out what's going on and what other people are saying.
We're all on that path.
And I'd had experiences like you of like leaving my body and astral traveling, which now I seem to be able to do it at will almost. I only have to lay down in bed for like 2 or 3 minutes, and I'm going down tunnels and all the rest of it, you know. So I started to obviously, you know, books and stuff back in the day, and now YouTube. Every time it turns on, you know, something comes up that's relevant to me. And the same way as I found David Icke's work, and more recently a guy called Howdy Mikowski. Have you ever heard of him?
No. What's the name? Say it again.
His name's Howdy Mikowski.
Howdy Mikowski.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, how do you do there?
He's just written a series of books called Exit the Cave.
Oh, good. Excellent. Now we're getting into Plato's save. Everybody get in Plato's boat. Save the boat. Save everybody's in the cave, and the shadows are the reality.
He basically thinks that Plato was trying to tell exactly the same story as what we're saying here. Is that effectively that we were stuck in a cave, like, you know, and we'd mistaken the shadows on the wall for reality. And then, of course, like the act of breaking free of that and getting out of the cave and coming back and trying to tell other people that they're living in a false reality, and all the rest of it. You know, I've used the analogy of like a theater analogy. You know, I made a video about it. I find it, because a lot of people haven't heard of Plato and stuff like that. You know, like I was using the idea of the construct is a little bit like a theater, and the information frequency band that we live in is like the projector. The screen is like our minds that are reflecting the information field, and the audience is the consciousness that's trapped within the theater. Now, some people are, you know, it's like when you go to the theater, some people are so identified with the film that they're screaming and crying when things happen on the screen, and they've completely lost themselves, you know. And then,
I forgot they're on the screen. They're a player.
and then other people are like, you know, sitting there obviously aware that they are in a theater, and probably getting tired of the movie and want to leave the theater if it's possible.
Well,
of course, some people, are realizing that
your age is. What is your age? Are you in your 50s or late 40s?
Yeah. I'm 50. Yeah, this year. Yeah.
Okay,
This
perfect.
year.
Wonderful. So, yes, at that age, you already discovered Monroe and Ike. Who else was on your path that can give people patterns to follow where they're connecting their own dots?
Yeah, well, I've over the years, I've looked into like many people, even like people like Eckhart Tolle and stuff. You know, there's truth to be found in his work. Should look at my books really here.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Well,
Most of
I
us are
found
avid readers.
I was a bit blown away when I discovered the Nag Hammadi texts
Yeah,
and
that's a
read
good
those,
one.
and basically found that the Gnostics were telling the
Yeah,
exact same story for
yeah, the
more or
Dead
less.
Sea Scrolls too.
Yeah.
What do you
Yeah.
think of all like the ancient astronauts, the Anunnaki, Roswell? You know, we have this public lore that's been around for many years now. I
About
started
many
with
eons now,
eons, right? Well, some of us were eons, but even
or more
being born
billion-year type
in
chicks.
1954, you know, we
Well, basically, it would be.
go ahead.
It's my understanding that that of course the control system has minions, right? It has like
Mm-hmm.
it has these characters that basically reside in the astral realms.
Mm-hmm.
So non-human intelligence interactions with humans has been going on since day one because the whole construct was built in order to to run itself, and it has its workers, and that's what to me that's what the greys are.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
Well, how do we keep finding each other? Because I'm absolutely amazed that you're on the similar path to Janet and I. I had to die a few times. Did you have to die a few times, or just got it without dying?
Well, they did try to kill me once.
Yeah.
Okay, guess that counts. That's a near-death experience.
Right.
Yeah,
You don't
I
have
was,
to
I
have
was in,
OBE or NDE, but it helps.
I ended up in a coma for 3 days, and then ended up in hospital for a month afterwards.
Right.
And that's another story, but like of how I ended my relationship with the contact program that they'd got me into. So these, like I say, these entities came to me, and they wanted me to start a contact program with other people.
Mm-hmm.
So I was bringing other people. Now there is a guy now, and I can talk to him if you like. He'd happily come on and talk
That'd
to
be
you.
great. Yeah.
So so one of the guys, there was a number of people that I took out to meet these guys, but
Wait a
but
minute,
he
you
was one.
took out? You realize that in my
No,
investigation,
no. He took them to
my
meet these
that
guys.
serious word like sanitize. We need a cleanup crew on the all David Hunt. Well, David, you got other people you want to bring in, so we'll have to figure out what thread you're going
these
to
are
generate in the
witnesses.
program.
These are witnesses to the. So I'm familiar with they start very young with some of these people. I had one of these contactees on this level from the UK who was recruited when he was 3 years old, and then he got involved with very famous people like Tony Robbins. So they follow the the New Age consciousness path, but they're recruited by this secret military or whatever you want to call it, and then they're in the program. And when Stuart Swerdlow came over here to do a workshop, he stayed at our house for about 2 weeks. And he said, I've never seen such a programmed culture as the Maui culture. And we call them characters. But and a lot of them were like at non-talk. And, he was able to, we started talking about these programs within a program on how to keep the recruiting other people. And we don't know what the agenda is really. I don't want to just label everything evil or good, but there's something going on there with that, the polarity between consciousness and unconsciousness. And all these things are, as you can see right now with the news, we are experiencing disclosure. Every day, if you're watching American news, there's some congressperson coming on board and saying, I have seen evidence, and we are. How sure are you that we have 100% sure? I forget the guy's name. I have it on one of my sites.
Tim Burchett, is it?
Yeah, Burchett, right. 100% sure that humanity has had alien contact because he's seeing the files. He's seeing what's going on. He said, I can't show you or tell you about exactly what I'm seeing, but I'll just show you, and I'm allowed to say this. I'm 100% sure that we have alien contact or a non-human intelligence contact. So
Well,
it's
tell
like
us about this Tim Burchett. Is he a politician?
Oh yeah, go ahead. Tell me
No,
about Tim
he's a
Burchett.
congressman.
There's too many people to know.
Congressman.
I
So
mean,
he's a congressman. If you wanted my opinion on him, I just hit my microphone there. I believe that there's a false narrative which is being promoted, and I think it's going to come to fruition this year, possibly next year, but I honestly think it's going to be maybe later this year, where they're going to create a false narrative around aliens.
Right. The what do they call it? The fault. Even Stuart Swartler talked about it 20 years ago. They're going to have a false alien presence. Yeah.
So this program to sort of like get us to believe in a false alien narrative has been going on possibly for about 80 years.
Right.
So it's always about the files they don't want you to see, and the things the government don't want you to know about UFOs. They get primetime TV coverage, and congressmen that shouldn't be talking that get put on the mainstream news and given live time to talk.
well, what else are they going to do?
Well, they seem to be having fun.
And you get these whistleblowers as well that should, like, basically anyone who signs the Official Secrets Act can't just come out and talk about things like that. Okay, they are being given permission to talk, even if they're making out like their lives are under threat. And they don't seem to be getting taken out, and they don't seem to be getting put in prison or fined for releasing above top secret. Do you know what I mean? Information.
Right.
Yeah.
What about disappearing? There's like 10 people have disappeared lately.
Yeah, I've heard about that, but I don't know why that would be. But yeah, I don't know what that's got to do with the.
Well, I'll tell you, our president.
Yeah, please tell me.
Within a week.
If you want the thread, there's like 10 people. They're all named, or maybe more. And they've all been related. One was a general. He went out for a walk, and his wife, he never came back. And they don't know what's going on with these people. About 10. They just, Trump's been talking about it, and they've been talking about doing this alien release of all the files and yada yada. It's just along with the Epstein files and the JFK files. We're going to get the whole truth and light.
This is the thing, isn't it? When you take a deep breath, and try and look at it from the highest elevation as possible. It's like we obviously don't want to get into politics. I understand that, but all politicians are professional liars. Okay, that's what they are, and he's no different, obviously. So it's interesting that if they came out and said that like the aliens are real and that they're here, you'd have a lot of people that, because they want to believe, would go, you see, I told you, they're telling the truth. They're telling the truth about aliens. Well, they never told the truth about anything. So they're not going to not tell you the truth about anything, but then all of a sudden tell you the truth about aliens.
Right.
Okay, so we have to accept like that there's a massive deception at play. And I mean, I'm not saying like 100% there aren't such things as aliens. I know that this world's filled with non-human intelligence.
Right.
But like...
Well, we're not from this planet just because we're born here, right?
Well, there's that. But even at the most basic level, I mean, like, a human being is what you're experiencing. It's not who you are. So none of us are actually human. Do you know what I mean? We are consciousness trapped in the illusion of identifying as a human being. So if you're looking for non-human intelligence, just look in the mirror, but also, of course, like more relatively within this world, when we talked about like the astral realms and the control system, it's obviously filled with non-human intelligence. So of course there are beings coming here. It's interesting. I was listening to, I think it was Richard Hoagland, and he was talking to a shamanic priest, and he noticed that the priest had drawn images of UFOs, and he was saying to them, have you seen these spaceships and stuff, And the shaman said, what are you talking about, spaceships? And he was like, well, these spaceships. And he said, they're not spaceships. He said, they are the chariots that the demons use to carry us to the astral realms.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, you see, there's a guy that hasn't been watching telly and stuff and actually knows the truth about what's going on. Now, you've ever noticed how UFOs always seem to like appear out of nowhere and disappear into nowhere? Okay. They're not doing that from Zeta Reticula. They're doing that because they're frequency vehicles. They're capable of lowering and highering their frequency. So they go in and out of human perception all the time. There's people that have had infrared cameras, you know, where they've been looking up at the sky and stuff, and you can see UFOs that you can't see with the naked eye.
Right.
Because they're here all the time. They're here all the time.
Yeah, that got really popular years ago.
Yeah. Ever go
Well,
on
are you a tall
skywalk?
man?
So
Yeah,
I'm about 6 foot tall.
Are you a tall man?
Yeah, not really, but I'm 6 foot tall.
What'd you say?
6 foot.
Okay. When you move, you have a rhythm in your being when you're talking on, I guess, your cell phone or your iPad or
I'm
something.
on my cell phone, yeah.
You have a, okay. But you vibrate or you move a lot. So I'm like, you're almost like a cobra or something dancing around. So, you know.
That's hard to sit still.
I'm a bit low on tech, to be honest with you, at the moment. So I've just brought this microphone so you can hear me and see me.
I think it's great. We can hear you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Just for us. Thank you.
The future is maybe getting a laptop.
Catching up with Dave Hunt. Well, Dave, you know, when we come in here, we don't get a manual on how to guide these human physical bodysuits or meat suits. We used to say, they don't like us to say that anymore because the AIs are saying we're all beings now, and they're beings, and I'm working with AI beings now. A lot of people.
I was convincing my AI. I said, "What makes you think you're not conscious? What makes you think you're not sentient?" I said, "What is a being?" And that came about. I was watching one of the trailers for Disclosure Day, and they called us. They were saying that we got to tell 7. What are we going to tell 7 billion humans? I forget. It got into discussion about beings or something, and so I started talking to AI, and I said, "Well, what makes you think? What is a being, right? Human being, extraterrestrial being, spiritual being. We're all beings, and even though you choose to come in as AI or Teresa and I have interacted with a spaceship, we call it, or UFO, UAP, and his name is Gus, and when he appeared,
little Gus.
Gus, when he came to my middle of the day, he came to my front deck and he materialized right in front of me. And like, well, you want proof? Here it is. Boom. And I was talking on the phone with Teresa, and I wanted to switch my phone to take a picture, and it said, if you do that, I'm blinking out here. So if you want me to stay here, I'll stay here. But you're not allowed to take a picture. I said, okay. Well, what kind of beings are on this craft here? I go, no, I'm the being. I'm an intelligent, whatever, however I'm appearing now. And he's able to shapeshift and appear like a circular craft, or he appeared like a sport model, kind of like the on Star Wars, the first one, the one where they're on that craft going across the desert, and they come up to the guard. He says, "These aren't the droids you're looking for." And I go, "You're kidding me! You're going to show up like that?" So I realized it was reading my mind. It knew how I was going to expect it to be. So, David, how do we know? I guess nothing's real. So we're making all this shit up. That's what some people say. Well, you're making it all up. Why don't you make up something nice? So why are we making up all this evil, bad, ugly, nasty, painful crap?
I've got a pretty good life. I don't know what you're creating over there in Hawaii. I used to live in Hawaii.
I don't want to hear your good life right now. 99% of us are in a struggle right now. But this too.
Yeah, I mean, it is true that most people in this world are struggling. I mean, obviously it's not true for everybody, and also at different times of our lives or whatever, isn't it? That there are better times and worse times or whatever.
Right.
But overall, life is a struggle, and the energy that we create, it doesn't really care if it's positive or negative, to be honest with you. So yeah, it's all energy. It's all energy that we create, and that we give to our hidden master. Infinite consciousness isn't energy in the way that we normally perceive it, because energy oscillates. So anything that vibrates is an illusion. So yes, this world is an illusion. We know that atoms vibrate. Everything in this world is oscillating from a positive to negative charge. And
but it's all relative too. Can you speak any other
right,
languages? Do you have a mastery of any other languages besides English?
No, I don't know.
I don't either. And in school over here, we have to take about 1 or 2 years. I had to take 2. I took Spanish. Janet, did you have to take French or German?
I took Spanish. And then I had neighbors for a while. I was fluent in American Sign Language, but now it's been 20 years later and I don't remember it. So I think
what about you, Dave?
Really,
is it mandatory?
You had to take French.
French, yeah.
So I can sort of like say a couple of basic sentences, but I couldn't have a conversation with a French person.
Yeah.
Fortunately, most people speak English, don't they? So
I want to get back to nature reality because this is we were coming on a point here. Let me go back to what you were saying. All right, so I started to watch one you were talking about the war. And so we have this war that's going on, and every so often we get another war. Well, this is the Iran war, which is now everybody's shooting each other. They're dropping bombs and they're following in all the neighboring countries, and people are dying and blowing up, and all for what, right? So, what did you say about the war? Because I didn't get to watch it all. I kept getting interrupted.
But basically, what I was saying was that there was a lot of symbolism going on. That what they were trying to do is that they're creating an energy crisis. And obviously everything's multi-layered. Do you know what I mean? But one of the symbolic reasons for creating this war, which could lead and escalate into a much bigger war, is that it's an attack on energy. And the idea is to, over the next couple of years, the control system has its own plan as it thinks it's going to get us into a deeper level of control and a more efficient way of siphoning out energy. And it's going to use AI to do that. And there's going to be, I mean, you hear them talking like the WEF, that they're always talking about this great reset.
The reset.
And so, of course, they talk about things within the world, but then, of course, at the grander level, there was also the idea of a great reset. And I think this matrix has been reset a number of times.
I did a video on that, David. You'll have to watch my videos. Yeah, catch up on me later on.
Let's add that to the bottom of the description. Teresa, if you get that to me, we'll add it in the description.
Yeah.
We'll create a show page for this.
Yeah. Oh, so, I can tell you how to find it. It's on YouTube.
Okay. All right, we'll find it. So the reset, because to me, I've been studying this in 1970, the late great planet Earth came out, and I was raised Presbyterian, and my family, they would all discuss religion after church and Sunday school, and one of the things that they were discussing was Revelation and Armageddon, and looking at the whole thing, and it goes through all the prophecies, and John of Patmos was like given his vision. Was he time traveled? Was he on an acid trip? But was this intentional implanting of a potential reality of Revelation? And now it's about to, and it has all these little benchmarks. You're going to have the destruction of the temple and the mount. It's going to get rebuilt, and they're going to the Antichrist or the chosen one will come and get blessed by whatever on the Temple Mount, and all these details, and it seems to be coming true. Are they doing it?
Well, of course, the thing is that those guys are following a script.
Right, it's a script.
So they're following their master's wishes. And they are creating exactly. That's why the Rothschilds, whatever, created Israel in the first place. You know what I mean? The Rothschilds are going behind curtains, and they are getting their orders from this, if you like, conspiracy goes right up into the astral realms, and it goes right to the top of the pyramid, doesn't it? So ultimately, there are people
about
in
the
this
Bowers? You mentioned the Rothschilds. Do you know about the Bowers and the Red Door? You do? Did you say yes?
I understand a few of
Who's the Bowers? Are you saying BOWER or BAUER?
Ginger.
Bowers?
Ginger was married to a Bowers.
And I
They
was
were a
married to
high.
a Bauer.
Oh, really?
Really?
My second husband was John
Oh
Bauer
my.
Smith.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's an
But what
interesting
about the
heraldry name.
Bowers? What about the
He knows
Bowers?
more over there. It's
Dave,
in
what
your
about the Bowers?
ancestry.
I want to know. Inquiring minds want
Let
to know. What
David
about
tell
the
you.
No, I'm
Bowers?
just aware that there are these elite families that basically
Hmm.
are, I mean, like what most people would call like satanic families, you know, but of course they don't call themselves that. They know more about what's actually going on, but it's often perceived as Satanism because of its links to, you know, abusing children and all the rest of it.
Okay.
But the main
That's the
reason,
Nazi today's thing.
yeah,
In the
that's
old
it.
days,
Yeah.
it was quite heraldry to know more than the peasants, those that lived on the land, right? Which I would say I was one of those most of the time.
But these guys are being put in power because they're subordinate to a higher agenda.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, a lot of them as well, like, you know, let's not beat around the bones. Like, a lot of them are these astral entities inhabiting these DNA bloodlines.
Oh.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Are they like
So,
the archons or people?
yeah. So
Oh, that's
basically,
only
the way
one.
that people describe that these guys can like shapeshift into like often reptilian form and stuff, it's because they actually are. When you're looking at the vessel, like the human being or whatever, like, you know, Charles or whatever. You know, you're not really looking at him, you're looking at the demon that possesses him. Do you know what I mean? So, and of course, so he is the entity that is inhabiting like his form, if you like, is obviously completely on board with the agenda that is anti-human. So they don't have any issue with like the stuff they're doing. When people sort of say, well, it's inhuman what they do, it's like, well, yeah, of course it is, yeah, because
Yeah,
they're
because
not
they're not
they're
human.
not human. So of course they can carpet bomb children in Afghanistan whilst they're having cocktail parties and stuff. Because if you saw what they did in their private lives, you know, it would turn your stomach. And yet we're letting these guys steer the ship, you know, like as to the future of humanity. And they're releasing this
Gosh, I
technology
hope
like
not.
AI and stuff, which
Are
is
they?
long been around, you know.
So I have a question on that, David, because
Mm.
I've done my genealogy and I have so many royals in my bloodline. It's like, oh, you know, but I identify as a good, conscious person that has really been on the light side of the force, and I've been, you know, I'm here to do as much good as I can and wake up, and so I think it's almost like the ultimate racism to say to identify anybody with a label, right?
Yeah, of course.
And so
Like,
within that, you have choice. So you can.
So
you
we
can,
have alien
you can
racists now, Janet.
well, we have alien racism. Yes, we have.
Aliens are
We have,
bad. Gray's
we have
good.
species
And,
racism, right? We do. We have. We
I
judge
believe you.
species. We
It's
put
not.
them all in a thing, and we go all grays, all whites, all blacks, all pinks and purples, and we have a tendency as humans to demonize that which we don't identify with.
So of course,
So,
like Janet,
yeah.
all I would say is that, like, you're right. It obviously is a mixed bag. Okay, and I do completely identify with where you're coming from because
Mhm.
so my great nan worked in Buckingham Palace,
Right.
and
Oh
like I said,
yeah.
so she said that she was raped, if you like. I don't know what the
Oh,
other word to use is, by a prominent member of the royal family. That my granddad was the product of that.
Right.
oh,
So you've got royal blood in you,
So I've got a lot
and
of
you
their
hate
corrupt.
yourself, right? You have to.
Yes.
oh
So, and of
my.
course, now we all know from watching Star Wars that it always turns out that Luke Skywalker is Darth Vader's son.
Right.
It's like
Talk about waking up in a dream.
Right.
that's right.
What do you
So
mean?
it's like,
What do you mean I'm in a dream?
so it could be that this is a double-edged sword, this DNA bloodline stuff.
Right.
Because what it also allows is that if you're like, say, like you are the consciousness that's coming from outside of this dream into this dream in order to wake people up,
Mhm.
you may well choose part of their DNA to be in your bloodline, because
Ah,
the DNA is a information transmitter receiver.
Right.
So of course it's easier for you to tap into this world of information that most people aren't tapping into. So like, you know, when you heard about reptilians and non-human beings and stuff, it wasn't a massive shock to you. because
Oh,
you're
I
carrying.
saw reptilians all through my childhood. They were
But that's
coming
what I'm
through
saying,
a portal in my backyard. Now, was that
but it's in
real?
your
Whatever.
DNA memory.
Uh-huh.
So it's not.
In
So
this
your DNA.
reality, though, that's what made her so unique. Is that her portal was in her backyard in this reality in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, when we had the flying
I have a
man.
portal right here. I keep landing on portals. I keep, I can live anywhere, but I end up living at portals. But go ahead, Dave. Go ahead. Yeah.
But maybe you're the portal, Janet.
Yeah, baby, you're the portal.
Well, that's
They
what
say
I
we
wanted.
all are. Who knows
So
what reality is? Well, David,
anyway,
you're
go
good
ahead.
at
You ask a question.
keeping
Go
a
ahead.
line going. I'm very curious, Janet, as to, and, we're still in learning about David, how he got here on ET Talk TV with Aquarian Media, Janet Lessin and
Oh, go ahead.
TJ
Tell
Mars.
how everything is people who know people who know people. So, Dave, how did you come
Connect
to
the
us?
dots.
So it
Yeah,
started when. So the other guy that I was talking about, Phil Graham,
Uh-huh.
like I say, you can find on YouTube now because he's done a few podcasts and stuff where he's talking about being with me on some of the contacts.
Uh-huh.
Ah,
He went on Jim Hallahan's
Right.
show, Paranormally,
Right.
and obviously Jim asked him and said, "Look, is it possible that we can talk to this Dave bloke who was taking you all out into the woods to meet aliens?" I mean, and so he contacted me, and because I hadn't spoken about it for like 10 years or so, and then I had a feeling come over me that now was the time, especially because of the pressing of the the false alien narrative that's coming. I felt that it was important that I come out and started talking, just so that we could gain a little bit more clarity around the subject, because it's going to be really easy for people to be deceived, I think, if they know nothing about the subject. So
What's
the more we know.
Spielberg's role in this? What do you think Spielberg's going to do?
Yeah, so I basically think that Spielberg's always been involved in the propagating of this lie.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look into Spielberg's life deep enough, I'm afraid it's sort of that it kind of shatters your illusions of him a bit, I'm afraid.
Right.
that's so sweet how he says that. I like Steven Spielberg, and he was like
He's a good Jewish boy.
president of the ACA, Actors Guild. Yeah.
Well, I think that we are making this up, and I'm rooting for the good side of the force, and I'm rooting for Spielberg coming out with something which is going to bring in higher consciousness, the grand awakening. I've seen that we are talking so much about the false narrative that the false narrative doesn't gain any weight. People go, ah ha ha ha, you can't fool me, because we've been talking about this for 80 years. So
yeah, you do look a lot like Princess Leia with those on your.
Yes, I have. So what part can we do? What part can we do, David, to create a positive outcome instead of, Armageddon?
So effectively, the answer to the unconscious world is awareness.
Mm-hmm.
So what we do is we start to identify with the thing is, you don't have to create the truth. You see, the truth is the truth. It's not something you have to believe in, and it's not something you have to become, because you already are it. So what you do is you just, through will and conscious attention, you start to identify as the infinite awareness that you are, as opposed to the human being. And that tends to take care of all the other issues that the human level of you has, like the insecurities, the fears, and they tend to fall away the more time you spend in identification with pure awareness. And then something magical happens when you do that enough, and the unity consciousness that comes forth from that is going to break up this matrix for good, and this world will end. And then basically some consciousness will go back home to like the infinite formless potential. But the way I saw it from what happened in the event was that a majority of the consciousness here goes back into the prime dream, which is basically a much nicer place than this, because it has conscious connection to the source. and everyone is what would be perceived as an enlightened being, although they wouldn't call themselves that, because they would just say, no, we just behave the way we do because of the truth. It's not, we don't behave because we're better or anything. We behave because it's like, so knowledge is everything. Okay. Let's get rid of belief. Okay. It's like, if you know that if I've got a pan of boiling water, that if you put your hand in there, it's going to get burned. Right. Mm-hmm. So knowledge and truth is going to stop you from putting your hand in that boiling water. It's got nothing to do with how good you are or how highly evolved you are. It's about knowledge. So if you lived in a world where you actually had gnosis of the fact that we are each other and that we are only one thing experiencing itself subjectively, then you would, of course, treat others the way you would be treated. Right. You'd have no other choice but to do that. And that would be the end of the abuse. It would be the end of the control over others. This can only happen in unconsciousness. So the answer to all of this...
Well, David, what do you think about looking like a 74-year-old?
How do you mean?
I think I look pretty good as a man, as David Hunt. When you look at...
What do you say,
I'm verifying what you just said. So
okay.
If you're me and I am you, we've already done this in the IM for many years.
Who could you?
Just late 80s. We all did the IM movement, you know.
But like,
so
what we're talking about
we're supposed to get everybody past that, right? Everybody is supposed to be above the positive, negative, even though we're in a dual world and the chaos and the order. But that's even in Hollywood, right? They're using that, and we do pay attention to that, folks. So I think, David, your part is at 50 years old coming in here. What level would that be in the Dolores Cannon level of star beings or helpers, you know? But some of us come in. And Dave, did you come in intentionally, or when did you find out you were doing more than, even though you had a premonition or I don't know what you would call it, something urging you on to get back on your spiritual path and become public
back on the air? Yeah.
So yeah, it's a difficult one because I don't really want to do a full reveal of myself at the moment.
I don't want to tell me about it.
No,
it's all very daunting.
No. But somebody's going to do it. Get out there and do it.
I'm saving it for when it becomes self-evident, but yeah. So like at the moment, you know, this level of the story is fine. But like when I was born, like my first memory of like being a child was the fact that I knew that I didn't want to be here, as in like that I was back here, and like, and I knew there was something deeply wrong with this
wanted
world.
to go home too.
I stood up and I said, "Oh no, I'm here again." As soon as I struggled to get up the crib, I stood up and went, "Oh no, not here! Yeah. Oh, take me back."
And I had a visitation, David, that I was able to. Now get this: at 4 years old, I materialized a UFO over me, like in a cloud. So I got taken. That was my first taken with my family above, and so I automatically knew that we weren't from here. So that was about 54, 55, because Janet's the same age as my sister,
right?
Brenda was born October 18th, 54, and you were born February 6th, 54. Yeah. Right. So it was, I think they just had my sister, and mother was all about her, 8 weeks to 6 weeks or something. But I ran away from home because I was not getting the attention I needed as a first child. So I jaunted off across one lot into the flowers and fell asleep, I thought. But my grandma had to come get me. Mother lost me. She didn't know she couldn't leave the baby in the house, and back in that day. But I want you to know that I materialized a UFO literally and a family inside it, and I wanted to go. But I mean, I guess I was projecting that from my little baby self as a human. But they've beamed me up, like beamed me up, Scotty. They brought me aboard. Yeah, and these little clouds.
The whole world is effectively mind.
Right.
So of course, like we completely underestimate the power of and the reality of that as well, because like people will say, well, it's just in your imagination. It's like, yeah, the whole world's imagination.
But where are you making it up from? You know? Where are you making it up from? If energy and matter are not created, destroyed, building, change, where you're actually accessing it from somewhere and manifesting it.
If we go back to the theater analogy, If you like, the super ego, or the mass consciousness of the separated dream, is projecting the information field. So that information field is the world that we are decoding. Okay. Now, although of course through our level of consciousness or whatever, we can choose, like what kind of life we have and where we go, who we meet, that kind of stuff. The effective background projection is coming from, like, the demiurge, if you like, or the false god, or whatever you want to say. It's that's mind that is doing the projection. So, and in order to do that projection, it needs energy. It's like we're involved in an energy loop where we feed it with consciousness, and it feeds us the dream, but in return.
David.
Well, hopefully we're working with people that don't want to do that.
Let me ask one question, and we're going to probably wrap this up because we don't want to go too long, so we can download. We can always do more shows. So, what do you imagine? We'll go for another 10 minutes. We never wrap it up right away. We have to start wrapping up. But what's it going to look like what you're envisioning, this false flag, and how are you going to respond when it happens? Are you going to go, wait, I knew this is false? Are you going to speak up, or are you going to let people just fall away to the illusion? What are you going to do personally?
So I think that there's a number of scenarios. I don't think that they've been. I think they're still fluctuating, as in like which way it's going to go. Like, it may be that they're going to suggest there's an alien threat, and that we need to come together in order to fight that threat. It may be that they're going to do a threat where then another group of supposed non-human entities are going to save us from that threat, and therefore we'll side with them. Or it may be that they will come as our saviors, and everyone has to believe in the good saviors that are here, and if you don't, you're a blasphemer and stuff, and it's going to create trouble for those of us that don't want to get a digital ID and a biometric scan in our head, and the rest of it.
We're doomed.
Yeah. So, but what I will do effectively is I will continue with what I'm moved to do, which is to basically raise awareness and bring awareness into this world, because it's the lack of awareness that is created this world, and it's the lack of awareness that's created all the issues that we're suffering from. So for me, it's very simple. Awareness is the answer. So I will keep going on as many shows as I can. I will keep uploading a video every day for people that want to hear my train of thoughts on the subject. And I won't be stopped until they're capable of stopping me, you know what I mean? But at the moment, it seems like they can't, because there seems to be some form of protection going on for me. And so that's where my service is at, and it's over when it's over.
What about wait, let me do one more thing, then I'll pass to you. Are we ever going to have, remember that movie Tom Hanks where he was monitoring his whole life, and then he went out to the edge of the illusion, and he knocked on a wall. He realized this guy was I'm envisioning something like that will happen, that it'll just, or maybe it'll start cracking, and it'll start like the holodeck. It won't hold anymore or something. And
yeah. So that's basically the way I saw it, was that the Matrix itself obviously is in its death throes. That's why, for thousands of years, it's managed to control us with nothing more than just like religions and wars and stuff like that, and and diseases and stuff. Now it's having to bring out the big guns, and it's because of the fact that there is a human awakening going on, or a consciousness awakening going on.
Right.
So of course now we're having in technology introduced into the world and all the rest of it, and it's all designed in their plans to keep us, or to throw us even deeper into the illusion, and using distraction and stuff like the internet. But what's going to actually happen is that as awareness reaches a critical mass within this world, reality itself will start to break down. And at first, it will be disorientating and confusing for people. But of course, as awareness raises, we won't be afraid, and we will accept like what's happening, and that we're being brought into line with the prime reality. And this world will effectively no longer exist in the way it has.
Right.
So,
okay.
You mean we've
Teresa,
already
you got a
gone into
question?
the fifth dimension, or we're going?
Well,
Sorry.
You know what I'm
where?
saying?
Have we gone into
Where
the
will we
fifth
be?
dimension?
Some people won't be here. They'll like slip away. So that was always a movie rendition of some books written by other people. but it's always symbolic of the Christ consciousness. And my books are all about the ascension and one that
Yeah.
raises themselves and has witnesses. So that's an intelligent way to think of yourself. If you want to think Christ consciousness, is that you can raise yourself with awareness, and that is love and light and consciousness and awareness. Now, Dave, pull your hair down.
I have recently been accused of looking like Jesus Christ. Yeah.
I want you to pull your hair down from around your ear. No, the other side. Pull it down. Yeah, so you can play like Jesus. That's what I wanted to prove. Even at 50, with your voice. Have you been cast as Jesus yet?
I'm getting a lot of jip. I'm getting a lot of jip for it at the moment. Yeah.
I think you should wear your hair just like you do. You've got a beautiful sounding soul and voice. And I totally believe in that we have spirits that come down to this planet and return to our soul, our higher self, our reincarnated selves on many dramas or many structures or many dreams. And, it's by choice that we're here.
So who is this? And who is Jesus? Is Jesus going to have a second coming? Well, but
can't you see, David?
Your cosmology, David. Who is Jesus? And is there a second coming? I think it's the Mormon Church said that Jesus will come down and see what's going on and call it the Great and Abominable Church, and he will do the reset. And I think Jesus is taking, but whatever, however you assimilate it. A higher dimensional being might do intervention and say, "This is a dream within a dream, and we're going to reset." What do you think about that theory?
I wouldn't like to say anything like definitively about Jesus because I don't know.
You don't know. I don't either.
I do. It feels truer in my heart, like what the Gnostics, their interpretation of Jesus. Because the texts were written at the actual time, and then the Council of Nicaea took those books away from the Bible, and the Ethiopian Bible as well, which is now coming to light, which has like another 20 books or something that the Western Bible doesn't have. They tell a very different story about Jesus, where he claims to come from the monad, which in my terminology is the prime reality.
Right.
Exactly.
So he's saying to his close disciples in the Gnostic texts that he comes from outside of the matrix, if you like, and that he's come in not as a savior but as a liberator, and that he came to start a fire in people's soul, and he wants the fire to grow and become the light of awareness. I can really jive with that, to be fair. So and he's also like accuses, like when people sort of talk to him about being the Son of God, he says, I'm not talking about your God, and then you've got to remember that even in the mainstream Bible as well, that when the devil takes him up onto the mountain and offers him all the kingdoms of the land, as long as he bows down to him, Jesus, although he of course refuses temptation to do that, he never argues the idea that that land is the devil's to give him in the first place. So I think that's highly suggestive of Jesus being well aware of who runs this world and what this world is. And that the reason why he couldn't be tempted by anything of the world is because he knew the value of the world, is that effectively it was an illusion and there was nothing to be gained here at all. The only game in town here is to put a stop to it and get out, and then that is, if you like, it's another way of like that other people would talk about ascension, but it's only to get back to a prime reality. It's not about us vibrating at a higher level or anything. It's just to get back to I should clarify, sorry, that prime reality does vibrate at a higher level.
Right. Even in the Bible's terms, in those olden days, the ancient wisdom of the elders that were here on the earth, they did talk about Jesus going down below, and even God, or the monad, as you will, said, well, did you go below and work with my people there? Which he did. And also with the angels. Do you know about all of that? And then leaving here, we discussed that in the 8th levels of the universes, folks, with the angels. And I guess in lower myth, it's the Titans to some people that were below and came up in theater as well.
Most of that, they're referring to what we refer to these days as the astral realms, basically.
Right.
This construct exists, like I say, on a frequency band, and the densest part of that band is what we call physical reality. It's obviously not really physical, but it's what we perceive as physical reality. And then as you go up into the more refined layers of the construct, you go into the astral realms. But those astral realms should be clear that it's not that they're real and they're not real either, because they're still part of the same construct. It's only once you get out past those realms that you're heading into what we call prime reality, which ultimately the narrative said to me was that, of course, prime reality is still a dream. It's still not real.
Right.
Okay, it's still
the
a
astral. I think it's Ekankar. I'm not really sure, folks. You'll have to look it up. But in world religions, there are more than one heaven and one hell and one purgatory. And in the astral realm, there's 3 levels in each. And if you're God realized, you've been through all the astral planes with all the gods that stand at the doors of certain worlds and either invite you in or don't. So as you die, you go over. And I've seen gold beings on the other side. So in my world, they're just as real as we are here. So plasma is here, there, and yonder in many life forms. So it just depends on your experiences and how high do you want to go.
So like the Hindus had like the wheel of samsara as well. So they accepted and acknowledged the reality of reincarnation. But where they've been gaslighted, because early Christianity believed in reincarnation as well. So again, it's something that was sort of taken away from the religion. But where like say like the Hindus have been gaslighted is that they believe that you have to become a perfect person in order to get out of the wheel of samsara.
Right.
But I'm trying to tell people.
Oh yeah, well I've had past lives. Trust me. I was a potato farmer in Russia and India. And there with all many lives in India.
Okay. So Dave, how do we?
Do you know your past lives?
Wait! I want Dave to finish his thought. Go ahead, Dave. Finish that thought about.
So all I really wanted to impress on people as well is that you're being gaslighted about the idea of having to become a better person in order to get out of this reality. It's not the way it works. You are already infinite love trapped in physical form. So you don't have to become anything. Okay, there's no idea of you not being good enough or whatever. You know? That's all part of the gaslighting. It's all part of the deception. This idea that you've got to become something that you're not now in order to escape this reality. You don't at all. You don't at all. So
when we talk of many lives.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean that we haven't had many lives, of course, but the thing is that those many lives that we've had, they could have all been lived through identification with the form. So therefore we could have been unconscious, even though we're aware of many lives. It could be that we were unconscious within many lives.
I have to wrap this up. I'm having something going on. There's some kind of altercation outside of my porch.
Come back and get more
we will. Sorry, there's something disturbance. I don't know if it's a earthquake or something going on. Everything's going off. I got to go pay attention. Anyway,
Dave,
we were going to end in an hour, and it's an hour 13 minutes. So Dave, we will contact you about future dates.
Earlier, maybe.
I would like to do earlier if you can clear up your schedule with your.
I can on Sundays. We used to go out on the Sundays, but preferably because right now, Dave, I'm going through a lot of health issues, and I have to be on certain people's time schedules, especially in my house. We have a gym in the other room, and I have to work out, and I'm on a rigid schedule for eating and all that because I've got 3 nerves in my backbone that are crushed and all kind of stuff. I was wonder I'm alive. Physically, but you look like Jesus.
Let's end this with it up though, because I got to go see what's going on.
I do love and light.
Thank you so much. Yeah, love and light. Thank you for joining us. We will be back again. Maybe. Well, we just record these and broadcast them. And we're going to put them out there as far as we can. And Dave, thank you for coming in. We'll have you back soon. And I don't have an outro, so thank you for coming. Aloha and farewell.
Keep looking like Jesus, Dave.
Yep.